All right. Everybody stay, we can open up. Mr. Calvin will do a review for us tonight. There should be some more people coming.
Okay.
Eternal Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this Bible study tonight. We thank you for the Calvin who's going to do a review for us. We want to bless everybody who's on their way to attend Bible study. Heavenly Father, continue to bless River Baptist Church. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'll be right back, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, D. Thank you, y'all, for coming out. Few of them that don't matter because Jesus said 2 or 3 gathered in his name. He's in the midst. So we thank Jesus for being here as well. Not the teacher, the facilitator. I want to make that to make that clear. Okay, the teachers are not available for this evening. We say hello to them online. But we're gonna have everyone to be facilitators as well. We're gonna have a group discussion in this. What we have studied to this present point, preparing us for the next phase of our Bible study. Want to jump right on into this thing. We began initially in the book of Genesis, which is the beginning of the Bible. And we talked about the main point, what I want to consider the main point. I want to make mention of it now and even close with it. This is what I gather. Now, if y'all gather something else, feel free to throw it on the table. Okay. But my thing, and I think that Reverend Gross and Reverend Montgomery made mention of it. The series of studies that we have been involved in essence and in summation, tells us that God requires from us faith and obedience. Bottom line. Okay? When we're going to be looking back into the midst of what we have been studying, I want that to be on the forefront of everybody's mind. That God requires faith and he requires obedience. Now, Reverend Gross and Reverend Montgomery had us to recite something. We're going to jump into that this evening as well. Asking what is faith? And we refer to Hebrews, the 11th chapter, verse number 1. And y'all can repeat it with me if you feel free to do so. It says that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. I want to say that one more time. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. A modern day example of faith is someone comes up and says, I want to buy a house. I need a house. I'm having faith for the house. But yet still, they don't even have a job. But with continued faith, they will outline the necessary steps, guess what? To get the house. And when we show faith, and as according to God's will in our life, guess what? A lot of times he just give us what we need. Or open, as the old folk would say, open doors that no man can close, or close doors that no man can open. He will provide a pathway for us to receive that which we have faith for. Even though I don't have a house, guess what? I'm going to get it. Why? Because I believe I'm going to get it. Even though I don't have a job, guess what? I'm going to get a job. I might have to go work at Wendy's or Chick-fil-A. And I like to use them because they close on Sunday. Okay? No, Wendy's not. Chick-fil-A is. Okay? I might have to start at the bottom. Okay? But the ultimate goal and the ultimate believing and the ultimate faith is that at some point and at some time, according to God's will in my life, and as I say, my faith, guess what? Miss Karen and I will walk into that house, okay? Because of the faith. There's another thing too I think we pointed out, I think in verse number 6, it made mention that it's impossible to please God without faith. It is impossible to please God without faith. Why is that so, somebody? Anybody?
It goes back to what you said before. That's what he expects, faith and obedience.
Okay. He expects faith and obedience. God says even in his word that you have to believe that I am. Okay. And that I will provide for you. But you have to have the faith. In Hebrews 11, it also talks about, and these are some of the things that we did study, that there was, quote unquote, a faith hall of fame. And it made mention of several, what I call prominent folks out of the Bible in the Old Testament that had faith. Even in as much as that, in many cases and many times in the New Testament, they're referred back to as reference sources for all Christians to look at because of their faith. And we let's be real quick now. A lot of times, even in the midst of having faith, sometimes things don't be looking the way I think it ought to be looking, and my faith gets a little weak. Okay? Human, those things gonna happen to human folks, okay? Faith gets a little weak. And it's at that point where we refer back to many of the quote unquote members of the Faith Hall of Fame to rejuvenate our faith, look back and see what they had to go through, what obstacles that they had to face, but yet still with them maintaining faith, they were able to overcome and able to achieve what God would have them to achieve. One of those persons is Abel. We'll be talking about these folks because they're part of the review for this evening. Abel was he was the baby boy. He was the second child of Adam and Eve. And we're going to be talking about him in just a moment. Enoch also is mentioned as one of those members in the Faith Hall of Fame. And Enoch's relationship was that in which the Bible says that Enoch walked with God. Our teachers went into depth in some respects to talk about what that walk, what does that mean? Anybody? What would a walk with God? What does that mean?
Personal relationships that he had with God.
Okay, personal relationships. I can have friends, and I do. Okay, and then I have close friends. Okay, now all of them are friends, but the close friends are the ones that we become more intimate together. Okay, we share things that not necessarily the regular friends get to know. Okay, I may call them when I'm in a tight quicker than I would the regular friends because they've shown to me loyalty. They've shown to me that they got my back, if you will. Okay, so my relationship with them is a lot closer. Now, don't mean I don't love the other friends. Okay, we still boys. Okay, we good. But my go-to guy, okay, that's my individual. If I would be talking, that's the one I'm walking with. Okay, and watch this now. They also share with me. They confide in me. They tell me stuff, and they know it. I ain't gonna be broadcasting it on Facebook, whatever. Okay, they know that. Okay, we have that intimate relationship, and when we talk about Enoch, now, I don't know. I wasn't with Enoch and God back then. Okay, so I don't know all the fine details. Okay, but I can imagine in my mind's eye that Enoch and God had that type of tightness. The Bible indicates that Enoch walked with God and had such a special relationship with him. He didn't even experience death. Okay? He was translated. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if he got beamed up or whatever. Okay, I don't know what the translation is. I don't know. But whatever it was, he did not have to experience death. Okay, he did not have to experience death. Another person that is in the Faith Hall of Fame was Noah. Noah built a boat in the middle of where he was, and ain't nobody else ever seen the boat. Noah didn't even know what the boat was. Okay, he got instructions from the Lord. Get this lumber, get this pitch, and do this, and I needed so many cubits long and so many cubits high. And told Noah that it's gonna rain. And back at that time, they had never experienced rain. They didn't know what rain is raining out there now. They never knew what that was. Okay? But Noah, out of his faith in God and his obedience, okay, I said I was going to make mention of that at the top of the Bible study tonight, is that God requires from us faith and obedience. Noah is a perfect example of that. They talked about Noah, laughed about Noah, teased Noah, called him all kinds of names. Noah kept right on building the ark. Okay? And in due time, guess what? It started raining. Okay, y'all know the rest of the story. Okay? But Noah exhibited faith in God, even though he didn't never see rain. He had never saw a boat, had never used one, never been nobody that he could refer back to that had done these things. He done what God asked him to do. Okay, and for his obedience and his faith in God, God blessed him and his family. Okay, in the Faith Hall of Fame. Also, we have Abraham. Okay, we're gonna touch base on brother Abraham. Now, I before this study, I knew a little bit about Abraham, from what the preacher said, and reading a little bit, But I never did get deep into this brother. I really won't talk about it right now. We're gonna come back to him. Okay. Abraham, that boy has some serious faith. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. Okay. He has some serious faith. I don't want to prolong the class. I got a question down here. Let me throw it out here and let it ponder in the back of your mind, stew on the back burner, if you will. How did each of these individuals show faith in God? How did each of the people we just mentioned in the Faith Hall of Fame, how did they show faith in God? Let's start with Abel.
When he gave his offering, he gave it off the top.
Okay.
It was his first and his best.
First and his best. God required an offering. Okay. God made mention, this is something I want from you. Okay. He asked for an offering from Cain and Abel. Abel tended the flocks. Cain tended the fields. Abel's sacrifice was received by God. Cain's was not. Cain got jealous, killed Abel. We know the story. Okay, But when we delve into this just a little bit, we find out that one of the reasons that God received Abel's sacrifice is because Abel was not half-hearted about it. It was just something to do. Okay? He was serious in that God required something from him, and he wanted to do and give his best. Okay? He gave from the first flock, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? He didn't just pick old Nezbel over here in the corner, something he didn't want. Okay? Diseased, okay, and crippled, about to fall out. He didn't choose them. He chose the best of the flock to render unto God. Now, on the flip side, Cain did that. Cain just grabbed some groceries together and said, I ain't gonna use this no way. Let me get at the God. Okay? That ain't the way we are to do. And that's why God rejected it. You roll up on God and give him just something. Okay? He's God. Created the universe. Planets, stars, cosmoses, galaxies, all that. I'm just gonna hand him something? Come on. Okay? And we as Christians really need to be on the mindset that when we give God our best, guess what? He gives us more. I'm not going to go too far off center, but that's mentioned in the Bible when you're talking about when the master gave the talents. He gave 3 of his servants talents, and he gave them according to their abilities. The first one took the talent, ran with it. Okay? Multiplied it, because he knew the master would be expecting something great from his efforts. The second one did the best he could do. Third one bared his in the third. That ain't the person we want to be. Okay? That ain't the person that has that faith. That's not the person that has the obedience, because that individual also knew the master. He knew what the master was expecting. And when the master came back, sure enough, things fell in line according to what the master, his disposition, if you will. He blessed the one that went out and hustled. He blessed him with more. The one that did his very best to do it quite well, but that was okay. He gave him even more. This one over here, he ain't getting nothing. Matter of fact, he got worse. And we as Christians, we need to be mindful that when God requires something of us, let's give him our best. Okay, I'm gonna move on. We talked about Abel and how he gave his best in the sacrifice. He gave the fatted portion and the firstborn of his cattle. Cain, he just gave some, bless his heart. Our lesson and our facilitators let us know that God knew that Abel had died because his blood was crying out from the ground. Okay, that his brother had killed him. First year, I got that here in my note. Cain was a first-degree murderer. Anybody can tell me why I say that? Remember back. I had to look at it last night if you don't remember. He invited Abel to come out into a field. And when he got out there, he killed him. So get what that tell me. You gonna, it's premeditated. I'm gonna kill you as soon as I get you out here in this field. Okay, already playing. That's in there, y'all. Okay. So anyway, moving on. We talked about Enoch a little bit. We talked about Noah a little bit in their faith. Okay. Now we're talking about Abraham. Have mercy. No, I love some Abraham up in here and seeing it. Okay. Abraham showed faith and obedience. Remember I said talking? Now this is just me talking now. God requires from us faith and obedience. Okay. How did Abraham show faith and obedience, y'all? Anybody?
First thing he did, he walked away from his inheritance.
Let's stop right there. God called Abram, that was his name before it was changed. Okay. He called Abram from Ur. Now, in my mind, Ur was like San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Sydney, Australia, Paris, France, okay? London, England, Dubai, okay? It was a major city, okay? And it was a lot of happenings going on there. God called him out of that. And as my beautiful wife just mentioned, not only just called him out of that happening city, he called him from an inheritance. To do what?
Live in tents.
Live in the wilderness in tents. God told him, look, I want you to leave Ur, and I want you to go out that way, and I'm going to lead you to a city that I'll tell you what it is later on. How many of us, raise your hand high so I can see it. How many of us, be real, all right, 100%. How many of us would do something like that? That's what I thought.
They probably think, really didn't hear God right.
First, we would wonder, what's this voice? Do what? Abram was the oldest of his father. His father was wealthy. Now, there's a difference in being wealthy and being rich. LeBron James is rich. The man that pays LeBron James' salary is wealthy. There's a difference. Okay? Abram's dad was wealthy. And our facilitators told me something I did not know. As far as an inheritance was concerned back then, the oldest firstborn son would receive 50% of the inheritance. And the other 50 was split between whoever was left. So if you had 12 kids in your family, okay, the firstborn was going to get 50%. And those 11 other siblings, that 50% will be divided among them. Okay? So when I'm bringing all of this out for us as folk to see that when we read this and just say, God called Abram to leave Ur and go out and live in tents. It wasn't just live in tents. This boy gave up, quote unquote, some material stuff. Okay? He left his inheritance. Okay? He left his family. Now, he did have a nephew to follow named Lot. That's a whole nother story. we ain't gonna talk about that right now, okay? And Lot kind of like tagged along. He didn't ask Lot to come, okay? But he came on anyway. But we'll talk about Lot later. We're going to Sodom and Gomorrah. Anyway, but Abram gave all that up just because God said so. Didn't know where he was going. Okay? Didn't have no permanent structure to live in. They lived in tents. Okay? And even in the midst of that, Abram showed us, and this is one thing that our teachers pointed out in our classes that really got to me, in that he showed us, how can I say it, the different levels of faith. And what I mean by that is that Abram had faith to start with, but guess what? He didn't have as much faith as he needed for the final portion of what God wanted him to be about. He had to grow. Okay, he had to experience some things that built up his faith. Never will forget one time, I was having some hard times and I went to my daddy and I was telling, just pouring out my heart to my dad, telling about what all I was going through. And all things getting on my nerves so bad, how rough it was. And then my daddy started laughing at me. I said, Dad, why are you laughing? I said, I just told you about all this stuff that's going on, and I'm having a hard time holding on. He bust out laughing. He just rolled, and he had a little chair in his shop. He just fell back in the chair. I said, what you laughing for? He stood up. He looked at me. He said, didn't you ask the Lord to help you grow stronger? And guess what? I had to laugh. Okay, why? Because in order to get stronger, guess what? You got to lift up some weights. Okay? You ain't gonna get stronger and just sitting there. You got to do something. Okay? To build up what you will, some muscle. And the same thing in our walk with the Lord. And that's what I saw here with Abram. Abram was told by God that he was going to have a son. And this son was going to outnumber, the descendants from this son was going to outnumber the stars in the sky. And Abram was all excited. He and Sarah, they was all excited. And they waited. And nothing happened. And they waited. And nothing happened. So they're going to help God out. What they do?
I don't know the column.
What's her name? Hagar?
Right.
Yeah. How Sister Hagar get in the picture? And wait a minute. She just rolled up on him. Sarah. She was her handmaid. Okay. Her personal assistant, if you will. Keeping it. Okay. And she assigned her personal assistant to have a child with her husband. Now, before y'all go crazy, that was the law back then. Okay, that's what they did. Okay, that was acceptable. There wasn't nothing wrong with that at that time. Okay, but they was what? Helping God out. And in the midst of helping God out, guess what happened? They kind of messed things up a little bit. Even to today, over in the Middle East,
Two tribes still fighting.
there's two tribes are still fighting. When y'all see Israel, those are the descendants of it's Isaac. Isaac. And those are Isaac's kids. Okay. Ishmael, Iraq, Iran, and all these other fellas, those are his kids. And they still at each other throat. Even 2018, same thing. Because Sarah and Abraham gonna help God out. Okay? So we need to be mindful of now. God tells us to do something. Guess what we need to do? What God told us to do. Okay? Okay. So went on ahead, child, We know the story. And in Abram's older years, he was what, 99? And Sarah was what, 90? Guess what? Girl got pregnant. Hello. Baby on the way. Got a baby shower. I bet you they had a baby shower.
Your wife said it happened. You better leave that alone.
Now, look now. Look here. Y'all know how y'all ladies like to have a little shower for the newborn coming along now. Gotta get a basket and a stroller, some Pampers, whatever. Okay. Anyway, that's what I imagine. They didn't say nothing about that. Anyway, moving right along. Anyway, they had a child in their older years. So I think they made mention of it, but in my mind, there's a reason for that. What would it be? Why wait so long?
He was letting Abraham really build his faith at this time. It takes time. When faith is something like walking up the stairs.
Okay.
It's like you said when you was talking with your dad, you was on the lower part of the step,
Mm-hmm.
but he already had walked the steps.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go in life, the more trouble you have, you take that next step. Then you look, little stuff coming right now, you ain't worried about it.
Right.
And that's what
Don't matter.
As you continue with Abraham, you can see
His progression.
his progression.
His progression. And guess what? We as Christians, guess what?
And that's part of being a Christian.
Okay.
Progression. You got to keep learning and growing.
Y'all hear them talk about those seasoned saints.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. Seasoned saints don't went through some stuff.
Yeah.
So when they see this little stuff roll up here,
Oh, yeah. Let it go.
there you go. Don't worry about it. It's gonna clear up in 3 days. Okay. Here's somebody young. They all tore up, crying, walling on the floor. Nah, don't get up, baby. Get up. It ain't all about that. Okay. Abraham had to make those progressive steps to get strong in the faith. Okay. And that's what he did. So providing him that child at his older age helps helped in solidifying the growth and development of his faith. He continued to be obedient. I got to move on. He continued to be obedient in that at one point, at some time, God required a sacrifice. And guess what? He wanted Abraham to sacrifice his firstborn. Now, his name doesn't change from Abram to Abraham, which means father of many nations. Sarah's name has also changed. She was Sarah. Now she's Sarah, which means mother of many nations. Okay? So they done got to this particular level, final test. Guess what? We sometimes, even as we mature on up, guess what? We're still tested. We're still tested. So I used to ask when I was in school, especially when I was in about middle school, why we got to have so many tests? Okay, every time I turn around, it's Friday. Got to have a test. I'm tired of tests. Guess what? My dad told me, said, boy, don't you ever get tired of tests because they don't never stop. They'll never stop.
Getting you ready for the next one.
Getting you ready for the next one. And that's how life goes in every aspect of our lives. We're constantly tested. Perfect example is this of Abraham. But Abraham passed his final test. How? So what, man? He did what he was told to do. He got his servants together, told them, we're going over the hill here. We want y'all boys to stay right here and we'll be right back. Okay? But now God told him, sacrifice first son. He says, me and the boy here, we're going to be back. A few minutes. Y'all just get you some berries. Go fishing. We'll be back. Okay? And in the midst of him being obedient to God, he was actually getting ready to sacrifice his son. And he was told to stop. And God provided the sacrifice by providing the ram in the bush. And through faith, guess what? God will provide for us. Faith and obedience. Okay? We're moving on in our lesson. In the review, I got to hurry up because I'm running my mouth. Isaac has a couple of sons, Esau and Jacob. Okay? Esau was a hunter, a manly man. Okay? He liked the outdoors, hunting and fishing. Okay? Jacob, on the other side, was a house. He loved the house. He loved being in the house, doing things around the house, cooking, cleaning. He and his mom used to be tight. They used to hang out. Okay? But at birth, guess what? These two boys were twins. And they were at each other in the womb. When one was born, which one was born? Esau was born first. When they pulled Esau out, Jacob had his hand around his ankle. Hanging on. Boy, come back here. You ain't supposed to leave out here before I leave. Okay? All right? The Bible lets us know that they, in essence, they were adversaries. Even though they were twins, they were brothers. They were adversaries in a sense. Long story short, Jacob swindled the birthright away from Esau. Remember us talking about the Middle East? That's where it started right there. Okay? He swindled the birthright from Esau by tricking his father into thinking. Jacob tricked his father into thinking that he was Esau to receive the blessing. Underhanded, conniving, snake in the grass. Okay? But he did it with his mother's encouragement. Ooh, Jesus. Okay? And I've often said, y'all watch these reality shows. Y'all want some reality show? There it is right there. It's got some stuff up in here. Okay? All right. Drama. He got the blessing, but he didn't have peace in the midst of the blessing. even to the degree that he went on and got, let me say that. He was a swindler, and guess what happened to him? He got swindled by his uncle. Got him good, too. Boy had to work 14 years for the woman he really loved. Okay? Hello. Thank you very much. He had to work 14 years for this woman that he really loved. And even in the midst of that, Jacob was still fearful that his brother Esau was going to kill him. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. But even in the midst, guess what? God honored his promise. Even though the birthright got switched off, he honored the one that the birthright was given to. Okay? God keeps his promise. He said he's going to do something, it's done. It's just that plain and simple. Esau had 2 wives and 2 concubines, and he had 12 sons. Now that's significant for this very reason. Those 12 sons came to be the members of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, that's when you get the 12 tribes of Israel. That's where they came from. Okay, those 12 tribes of Israel. From Jacob. Okay, from Jacob. And from those 12 tribes, one of the youngest sons was named Joseph. We talked about faith. We talked about obedience. Anybody tell me about Joseph? He was a dreamer.
He was also the favorite.
Say that again.
Favorite.
He was the favorite. Now, I got to ask this question. Don't answer it. But I got to ask it. Are we supposed to have favorite children? Don't answer that. Many folk have favorite children. They ain't supposed to. All the children are supposed to be loved equally. But Joseph's dad was crazy about him. I think he was Rachel's son, firstborn son, if I'm not mistaken. And he was crazy about Rachel. That's the one he worked 14 years for. So when she had a son, that boy went crazy. Okay, he loved that woman and he loved that boy. In so much that he made him what I call a pimp coat. The Bible calls it a coat of many colors. And the big thing about that is that when they living out in the desert, you don't see nobody strutting around in a pimp coat. No coat of many colors. His daddy made that specifically for him. And now Joseph kind of spoiled. Okay, and he knew it. He knew he was a favorite son. So what did he do?
Right.
Thank you, ma'am. He went strutting around. Hey, y'all, look what dad made for me. Where your coat? Needless to say, that didn't go over well with the other brothers. Okay? And they plotted to kill Joseph. They were ticked off. And the oldest, I believe, named Reuben, he said, no, let's not kill him. Let's just dig a deep hole, throw him in the pit. Tell dad that about something ate him up. We tried to save his life. We'll take back this coat as proof that we did our part. Let's shred it up a little bit, look like whatever. Okay. What happened to Joseph? He survived. Got out the pit and got sold into slavery. Boy, what a day that boy was having. Okay. guess what? God was still with him. Say, how can he be with him? It's Solomon. It's like he wasn't dead. Joseph went on to Egypt and got picked up by this brother named Mr. Potiphar. Okay? Potiphar noticed something about Joseph, brought him in, had him gradually to take charge over the affairs of the household. And Brother Potiphar noticed something. What did he notice?
Joseph, he could interpret dreams.
Well, no, before that. Anybody? He noticed that everything that Joseph touched turned to gold. The boy had a sense about himself that things began to fall in place. Potiphar's house was prospering. Okay?
He's a great administrator. If you go back and read
Mm-hmm.
some of the theological books about Joseph, but his administration skills was amazing at that time.
At that time, it was amazing. And he was loyal to Brother Potiphar. So Potiphar had it going on. Okay? You know, I got this servant here. He's loyal. I ain't got to worry about him. Too tough. And everything that is, coming along well and fine and prosperous. So he had favor in the eye of Brother Potiphar. Also had favor in the eye of God. And as we may mention, he could interpret dreams. Very key factor there. He could interpret. God gave Joseph the ability to interpret dreams. We all have dreams. I had one the other night. Okay. Woke up in that morning like, what in the world was that all about? Have anybody ever had a dream you just confused about it? Didn't make no sense? Thank you very much. Glad you woke up. What kind of dream was that? Yes, ma'am.
I just thought that was for Joseph's dreams, he could interpret them, but were they like revelations? He would, like, God was giving him revelations in the dreams.
I had never thought about that, but I'm kind of leaning to a yes on that. Okay? Because in his interpretations of dreams, his interpretations were accurate to a fault almost. Because when he got thrown in prison, we'll talk about that in a minute. The baker somebody had a dream. And Joseph interpreted it just like that and let the boy know, look, you ain't gonna make it. You gonna die. They're gonna kill you. And just shortly after that, boom, he was gone. Okay? So I have to kind of lean towards saying a yes to that. Okay? Joseph went on. Joseph got thrown into prison. How? How did brother Joseph get thrown into prison? Now, Joseph, upstanding, righteous young man, working for Mr. Potiphar, who's highly respected. Things going on fine. Great administrator, Deacon pointed out for us. Got it going on. Now, how in the world somebody like that get thrown in jail?
A woman.
Have mercy. She just laid it out there. This boom. A woman. Lord. Help. Thank you very much. Yes. I think my wife was making mention of Miss Potiphar. Yeah, Miss Potiphar. What Miss Potiphar do? Bless her heart. Yeah, she lied, did she? I seen I don't know. We have a gospel radio station, FM gospel radio station here in Greenville now. FM 96.9. Thank you very much. 96.9. And on my way to work the other morning, I was listening to it, and they had a little skit on the Erica Campbell morning show that comes on. They do a little comical skit, her and her comedian side kick there. And they did a little comedian skit on Miss Potiphar. Yeah, yes, it was funny. It was fun. And I got to go through it quick. They say Miss Potiphar talking to her girlfriend, and she was telling her how fine Joseph was. And by that time Joseph came in, so she kind of urged her friend, girl, I'll talk to you later, got her on out the door and was trying to coax Joseph into coming to getting close to her. and laying in her bed with her. And he said, oh no, I can't do that. And she insisted, and she grabbed his coat. He just came out of, no, I'm Miss Parker. And he ran. Okay, then she got up and ran and told her husband came home by that time. And she was telling her husband, and it just gave me a visual, if you will. They did it comically, and it was real, it was well done, it was fun. But it gave me a visual of how that could have actually maybe happened. Okay? But we know that she accused Joseph, and Brother Potiphar, he had some reservations, bless his heart, but you know, that was his wife. He had to act some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? So instead of having Joseph killed, he had him thrown in prison. Now, we as Christians say now, Joseph had the ability to interpret dreams. He'd been saved from being killed by his brothers. He was in slavery, but was doing well as a slave. Okay, so he was doing all right. And now he in jail. No, he didn't see that one. But if we just look at it without employing God into the picture, guess what? We would think that that's a terrible thing. But God's plan overrides anything we can think of, okay? Let us just be real, okay? Stuff we thinking ain't the way it's supposed to happen. But this was a following, and it was according to God's plan for Joseph, okay? For Joseph, because Joseph had a dream earlier that he had told his brothers that I'm going to be a ruler and y'all going to bow down at my feet. Now that's coming from the boy who the dad is favorite and throw around here talking about where your pimp coat at. Okay? And then you gonna tell your brothers y'all gonna bow down to me? Oh, didn't sit well. Okay? But even in the midst of getting thrown into jail, what happened to Joseph? He was like cream in butter. He just rose to the top.
They have to come back and get it.
Thank you. He had that administrative skill. He employed it in prison, and you know they ain't mess with Joseph. You in here, but you all right. Okay, we ain't gonna put you in the dungeon. You don't need to be there. Okay, you get your 3 meals. Don't worry about it. Okay, we got you. He had favor even in jail. Okay, we go back to the story that 2 of Pharaoh's people got thrown in jail and had a dream. One dream that somebody help me out now. One dreamed that about some birds, and he's the one that got killed. The other one dreamed about something else. And Joseph told him he was going to go back into the palace. Okay? And I'm a little sketchy with that one, okay? But anyway, Joseph asked him to do something for me when you go back to the palace. Remember me when you go back to the palace. I don't really like being up in here, and I like to get out if I can. Okay? You got the king's ear. Okay, throw in a good word for the homie. Okay, did this man do that? No. Once he got out, he was out. Homie, you on your own. It wasn't until the Pharaoh began to have crazy dreams that made no sense. Now he employed soothsayers and magicians and those types of folks whose job was to interpret dreams and to do all this mystical stuff. And guess what? They couldn't figure it out. And one of his servants that had been in jail remembered Joseph interpreted dreams. So he shared that information with the Pharaoh. Pharaoh summoned Joseph. God moving. Joseph had faith, never went back on his faith, always obedient to God. Once he got into the palace, had the Pharaoh tell the dream. Oh, I know what that means, Pharaoh. That means that you're going to have 7 years of prosperity in the kingdom. And then you're going to have 7 years of famine up in this piece. Didn't stop there. As Deke said, those administration skills kind of eased out. He said, what you need to do is to take 1/7 of the produce of all everything produced for that year and set it to the side. Okay, so when those 7 years of famine come, you've got stuff stored up that will get you through that 7-year period. Pharaoh was so impressed. What did he do?
And second.
Hmm?
He was second to be in charge or something like that.
Pharaoh made him second in command right under him. Gave him a ring. Okay. Set him up in the nice palace. Take them jail clothes off. Boy, we got some lavender up in here. Some purple you can put on. You know, we don't need you sitting up in here with jail clothes on, dog. You got some things. You know, we'll sit over here. Okay. And anything go down, they go through you. You can't handle it, come see me. He was second in command. Was that an elevation by God? The reason being, Egypt was the largest empire, if you will, at that time. And he's over, second in command over the empire. Long story short, we're getting ready to get out of here, Charlotte. He had an encounter with his brothers. He called for his brothers. They came to Egypt looking for grain because everybody was in famine. He got a little of that deceptive spirit from his grandpa. And he tricked the brothers. He told them to leave, but he put a chalice, if you will, one of the royal chalices in their grain. Then sent his boys, his police out there and bust them. Had them to come back. Made them bring his father and his baby brother. And it was at that point he let them know that who he was. And guess what? God let his dream come to fruition because his brothers bowed down to him. Okay? From that, we got to go into Moses, and we're going to close this thing out. After Joseph's death, he asked that his remains not remain in Egypt, but when his people would leave Egypt, that they take his remains with them. A little time passed, new Pharaoh came into play, didn't know nothing about Joseph, didn't know nothing about no famine, didn't know how Joseph blessed the empire, none of that. Only thing he saw was that the Hebrews were growing in population, and if we don't do something to check this, anything go down, guess what? They gonna take over. We cannot have that. So what we gonna do? We're going to put them into slavery. We're going to have them to make bricks and do construction work all around up in here. And we're going to kill all of the first, all of the male kids up into age 2. Now, Moses' mom knew about these rules. She had a son. And just by the time he got to be few little more than infant, she did something. What was it? She put him in a basket and placed him in the reeds. Why is that important?
That's where Pharaoh's daughter came.
Hello. Now, she just didn't put him in the reeds over him because Pharaoh's daughter didn't go over there. She put him in the reeds over him because Pharaoh's daughter bathed right near that little spot right there. Long story short, she found some, Pharaoh's daughter went bathing, found a basket, knew it was a Hebrew child, fell in love with the Hebrew child, brought the child back to the palace. Not only that, and this is God right here, y'all. Got somebody to go get Moses's mama to come breastfeed the baby and then pay them. Hot dog. How many ladies y'all know get paid to breastfeed their own child? Okay? Moses grew up in the palace, but because of the Hebrew heritage that he had, got to pulling on him, he messed around and he killed an Egyptian. Tried to bury them in the sand. Okay? And the scripture says your sins will find you out. Okay. Gonna break up a fight among some Hebrew fellas trying to, keep them calm. And they just hit him with it. Look, oh, you gonna kill us like you killed that Egyptian over there? Word got back to Pharaoh. Guess what? Time for Moses to go. He had to leave town, y'all. Couldn't stay there. Looked too hot. Okay? Went in the wilderness. 40 years later? Married, tending sheep, minding his own business. Walking by this mountain, and all of a sudden I see something burning up in him. He went to go check it out. It was a bush on fire. But it wasn't burning up. It was just on fire. I don't know about y'all,
It's kind of scary.
but that's kind of scary. Okay? Yes, it's kind of scary. Okay? So he went to investigate it out, wanted to go there, let me check this out. All of a sudden he heard this voice. What did it say, baby?
Take off your shoes on the ground, you stand on this hole.
Now, my wife know I don't like scary movies. Y'all know how you go to the movies and they show the previews? And they show these horror films, and I look over there at her. So we ain't coming to see that. Okay? Being scared ain't my idea of a good time, okay? All right? I just me. Y'all might be different, that's me. Said that to say this. I saw that happen, it'd have been time to go. Thank you very much. Run, feet, run, okay? But Moses was obedient, and he received instructions from God through the burning bush that he would be the facilitator to get the children of Israel out of Egypt and out of slavery, thus fulfilling the promise God had made to return his people back. Went through a whole lot of changes. Now, did Moses really want to do this? Did he go in with open arms and gung-ho attitude? What did he say? Lord. No, you have to say it the right way. You got to say it the right way. Lord, please find somebody else. I don't want to do that. Come on. You ain't got nobody else. Moses, leaders to say, Moses was rather reluctant about, doing what he was assigned to do. God gonna help him out, gave him Aaron to be his spokesperson. They did go down to Egypt. They confronted Pharaoh. He had the rod, staff, throw it on the ground, turns. I would love to see that. Throw it down on the ground and turn to a snake. And Sue says, "Oh, we can do that." They throw their little rod down, and Moses' rod came and ate up their rod. Now, where your rod at? Okay, that's the ghetto version of it. Okay, all right. The various plagues that Moses through God, God through Moses employed upon Egypt represented the various gods that the Egyptians worshipped. Now you can go back, they had the ones of the gnats and the flies, or the frogs, turned the river to blood. The cattle had swords and stuff on them. What else happened? Something else. Gnats, locusts. Hailstorm. Okay, those were the gods that the Egyptians worshipped. And God showed his strength over them by being able to control them, which swayed the minds. It reinforced and taught the children of the Hebrews. It swayed the minds of the Egyptians to really kind of go against Pharaoh. Pharaoh's heart was hardened because he ain't care. He was the king, and I ain't gonna let none of y'all go, and I especially ain't gonna let you go. You done turned the Nile red. No. Okay. But God told Moses that he would harden Pharaoh's heart. Finally, he had to let him go from the last plague. What was the last plague? Anybody? What was the last plague?
Firstborn.
The firstborn.